This is a brief introduction to Great Lakes Rehabilitation Center, where the training videos are being made. Great Lakes Rehabilitation Center was founded by 3 people. That includes PDG Don Short of UK, Mr. Ted Silver of World Rehabilitation Fund, and Dr. Onome Kale of Great Lakes Rehabilitation Center. The objectives of this center was the rehabilitations of persons with amputation disability using the Jaipur limb. We have also been working with the following organizations for the success of this center. This include Rotary Jaipur limb, that is UK, the government of Uganda through the Minister of Health, Uganda Red Cross, that is in Uganda. We have also been associating with the following Rotary clubs. This includes Rotary Club of New Jersey, that is in UK, Rotary Club of Humber Valley, that is also in UK, Rotary Club of Kampala North, that is in Uganda, and Rotary Club of Chambogo, that is in Uganda also. Great Lakes Rehabilitation Center sponsors and supervises the following limb centers. That is Buluba in Eastern Uganda, Kumi, also in Eastern Uganda, Lira in Northern Uganda, Arua in Northern Uganda, and Kabale in Western Uganda. The latest is at Kagando Hospital near Kasese, also in Western Uganda. The center in Tanzania, which we have been also collaborating with, is in Kagondo Hospital, that is in Northern Tanzania, near Bukoba. The following services are available at Great Lakes Rehabilitation Center. These include prosthetics, that is making of artificial limbs using the Jaipur limb technology, orthotics, that is making braces, also using the Jaipur limb materials, physiotherapy, that is mainly for the amputees who are being fitted and trained at Great Lakes Rehabilitation Center. And then the general medicine services, which caters for medical clients who come to Great Lakes Rehabilitation Center. Our immediate objective is to raise funds to make 1,000 limbs in the following 2 to 5 years.
My name is Materu Julius, an orthopedic technologist. We are going to make the below knee prosthesis for Mwanda Elfas. We start with filling the patient's assessment form, of which is to assess the patient, interrogate on different things and taking the measurements. Now we start with interrogating the patient. Your name, sir?
I'm called Mwanda Elfas.
Mwanda Elfas is a male. District of residence is Kampala. The age is 31 years of age. Now we look at the nature of disability. It is a below knee thumb. The history of disability, it was a road traffic accident. Now when we go to physical examination, we examine the stump.
Now I'm going to examine the stump. It is a left below knee stump. First of all, it is a short stump comparing with the sound limb. Then when you're examining the stump, look at the physical appearance. So looking at it, you will see scars. You see prominent scars on the medial condyle. You see on the tibia head, there are also scars. Then we go to the tibial crest, we have also some scars. I think those are as a result of prosthesis has been using. So that means it's the secondary amputee. We go to the muscle power. But when you're checking for muscle power, you have to check it ranges from 0 to 5. You bend your leg, push it from a distance, then this side, push it down. His muscle power is 5. So you're going to take the measurements. First, take the length of the stump. That will be from the knee center to the distal end of the stump. So we determine the knee center. As let's say you can see it's here. So then length of the stump will be 11.5. So when you go to the circumferences, the distal circumference, we have 23.5. Proximal circumference, we are having 28. Then you go to the suspensions. The suspension 6.5 centimeters. Straight away move to the sound limb. First measure the length of the from the knee center to the ground. So this gives us 46 centimeters. This one at the ground. We go to foot length, gives us 25 centimeters. Muscle circumference 34.5.
Now, after we have filled this form and done with the measurements, the next step is to take what we call the negative cast.
So here now we are protecting the body from getting dirty. Now we go to the procedure of casting. Yeah?
That's the plaster of Paris bandage we use for casting.
So now this is casting. Yeah? Cast the stump. This because we need the shape. Its shape.
When it starts setting, you hold the contours so as to, it is on the patella tendon, you massage on the medial flare of tibia, and for the matter of suspension, you use your fingers to mark on the above the condyles. It takes 3 to 5 minutes to set. After it has set, you just make a slot just above the knee and you pull it out. That's what we call the negative cast of the stamp. So the measurement part is over. We go to the next step, that is fabrication of the prosthesis. After we had this negative cast here, we are going to fill it with the positive POP powder. We mix this POP powder with the water to get the positive cast, which is the replica of the real stamp. Then when it is, you pour it in the negative cast. You wait for it to set, then you put in the mandrel. This metal rod is called the mandrel. Then I remove the negative cast. Remain with this positive cast. Now, this is the same as the other stamp of the client. We expect to make a limb on top of this one, and we are sure that it is going to fit the client exactly. You clean it. Clean it like this. You put here the patella tendon weight bearing, and here you modify on the popliteal fossa for flexion of the prosthesis. Then you finish it up with the wire mesh so that it becomes so clean. Now we have our positive cast, whereby we are going to make the socket on top of this. This is what we call the stamp. The next step is to make the soft insert of it. You go to the machine.
Machining uses the rotor machine to zero the P light both ends. So the process goes like this: with zero at one edge, then with zero at the opposite side of the P light. So this will help us. Actually, this will enable us to roll and touch it. That will make a round P-light to fit in the positive cast.
We take the P-light material, all ever sheet. This is 7 millimeters in thickness. So we cut it in this form. After you had cut it, you apply glue on both sides, on the opposite sides. This is Patex glue, not any other glue can do. Apply glue on both sides. Then I put this piece in the oven. It heats for some few minutes because it is delicate. So a few minutes. Now in the process of making the cone, to make the soft insert, the cone is made like this. Then this cone is pulled here, top of the softening of the cast. This is the first insert we have made out of that other cone. You can remove it from the positive cast. Now, why we make this soft insert? This soft insert, as the name explains, it is a soft material As we know, the below nip stump has so many bone prominences and pressure sensitive areas like head of fibula, end of the stump, tibial condyles. So we make this soft insert to protect those pressure point areas. So as when the patient is putting on the prosthesis, it won't hurt. So that is the soft insert we have made out of it. After we had this soft insert, we are going to make something which is known as a cap. This cap will stop this soft insert sinking inside the prosthesis when the patient puts on weight. We make it out of plastic.
We're using gloves because it is from the oven, it is hot. Now we are we are molding the cap that will prevent the stump from dipping into the prosthesis. We go on the process of machining this cap to 0 so that we can cover the distal end and prevent it from going down. So we grind it to 0 on the rotor machine again, as I showed you on the P-right. You grind this to 0 on the rotor machine.
After we had shaped and grinded our cap, it will appear like this. It appears like this with 0 edge on the proximal part of it. Then we put it on top of our soft insert. After that, we fix it in the vise. We put cap on top and our hole there. Put in the mandrel. And now using our...
When we are putting this mandrel, we gauge it according to the length of the leg, as I showed you on the measurement.
As we have measured before, we cross-check the height. We want 40. Then this is the right mandrel, it is at 46. Then this is ready for extension of making the lower leg or the shank. So when you had put this mandrel, you must be sure that this mandrel is set in such a way it gives you 5 degrees flexion and 5 degrees adduction. Since this is the very short stump, you can be more on adduction because they tend to abduct naturally. So now I am satisfied that this flexion and reduction are maintained. Then, without disturbing it again, I put it upside down in the vise. I make the cone by using the old X-ray film so that ready to fill it with your plaster of Paris powder, ready for extension of the limb. So this is our cone already.
We are shaping the limb as the normal limb has to be.
You take it out, look it from above, and see if your mandrel is just in the center as you have set it in adduction and flexion. Then when it is in the middle, then you are sure that what you are going to add here will be on the right position. Then
at this level, we are feeding with the POP powder.
After we have felt it, then we let it set. We start modifying it and refining it according to our measurements, of course. Now our POP is set. We remove our X-ray film to look at our extension. It looks super, if not good. We check for the measurement, the length. And when we look at it like this, by using technical eyes, you can see the flexion is there, and the adduction is there. So I'm going to file it to get the shape I wanted. Now you can see our leg is already extended, our prosthetic foot. This is our cap, which is fitted on the soft insert. Now this lower part is extended to meet the length of the foot. Of course, it will be fit on this foot. Then minus this foot, it will appear like that. The next step now is to make the shank. This cover is made by using the high density polyethylene pipe. This high density polyethylene pipe is covered by cotton stockinets. From the inside, you cover it with cotton stockinet. Why do we put this one in the inside? Because we are going to heat it in the oven. So when it is heated in the oven, it collapses, it becomes malleable. Then if there is no this cotton stockinet, it will collapse and stick together. The sides will stick together. So we cover it with this cotton stockinet from inside and from the outside. This outside cotton stockinet helps us to pull the hot pipe onto the, because it will be very hot. We heat it at 300 degrees centigrade. So will you be using the heat gloves? To manage it. We put a piece of wood in it. Then we are going to the oven, open it. We put it in the oven like this, and we close the oven. Then we remove the pipe from the oven. As you can see now, it has already taken the shape of the limb. We are removing this powder from the prosthesis by banging like this till it comes out. Even if it doesn't want to come, we break it by using the hammer. Then we get our prosthesis out of this positive powder. Now, after we have finished with banging out the positive casts, we end up with these three components. This is the plastic part out of high density pipe we have been pulling, cutting, cutted, shaped according to the contours of the balloon shape. And this is the original cap we had fixed on top of the soft insert, and this is the soft insert. After we have cut them, shaped it, grounded it to what we wanted, then the soft insert is fixed here. This is the cap which prevents this soft insert from sinking freely down, further down. So this is what created what we call the total contact socket. So you start with the socket, you put on the soft insert, then you fix it in your shell like this. After that, we hit this proximal part of it. We fix it on the foot, After fixing it on the foot, we go to the gradient alignment jig. The jig is made up of two normal rulers fixed on the board, one to the left and the other to the right. The right one is for the right leg and the left one is for left legs. So this is for both purposes. And another component of the jig is that battery machine. It is called a laser aligner. This is a normal aligner used by the builders. It is even sold in the hardwares. So on the alignment now, first of all, you set the jig. The light from the laser aligner, you make sure it passes through this midline of the jig. Then on the alignment, you put your leg there, the limb. You make sure this line passes through the mid two and through the mid of the patella, like that. That's what we call alignment. But you must align it with a heel of at least 2 centimeters. So when this line passes here as it is seen, then we are sure that the client is going to walk properly, normally, like any other person. And on the middle part or the lateral part of it, we measure the length of the foot. We divide into 3 parts, equal parts. Then this line passes from 1/3 from behind. In this case, the fault is 25 centimeters, and then the line should pass at 8.3 on the ruler. You don't need to mark here, you just read here. 8.3 centimeters on the ruler, and then the line should pass somewhere 1/3 from behind on the knee joint. Then it is done. After that, you just go straight to fit the client and see if we can move or we have something to change. If there is nothing to change, then the alignment is okay. It is done. The patient can be discharged home. Your name, sir? Ahimbisibwe Deo. Your age? 50 years. The place of birth? Rukunjiri district. This is specifically for contacts. When you want to contact him or to reach him or for follow-up, you have to have the phone number. I am looking at the nature of disability. It is the left above knee amputation. It is a road traffic accident. So, in which year?
1998.
So, road traffic accident, 1988. Is it the first time to use the limb? It is not the first time. When did you get the first limb?
99.
In 1999. Are you married?
Yeah, I'm married.
With what? Housewife?
Yeah, my wife at home.
And 4 children.
4 children.
Okay. Now you come to physical examination. You just examine the patient. If he is able to use the prosthesis you are going to make. Give me your second hand. You don't have any problems with hands. You can grip. Grip. Okay. The hands are okay. Now I want to see this limb of yours. It is healthy. I can't see any. Do you have any problem with this? You don't have a problem. Okay. You stand up, sir. I am going to examine the stump. Do you feel any pain? No pain. Okay. Extend it by force. Use force. Okay. Thank you. On this side. This side, like this. Now I am checking for the muscle power. If the muscles are strong enough to hold and play with the prosthesis. The muscle powers are just high. They are 5 in the measurement. Then I don't see any scar. Do you feel anything here?
The thing is now permanent.
There is no neuroma, what we call neuroma. There are no serious scars. Now, the stamp is medium size. On physical examination of the stamp, no neuroma, no pressure point areas, no scars, full muscle power. That's okay. The extremities examination, I've already examined. The upper hands are okay. The sound limb is all right, no problem. Then this client is a candidate for the above knee prosthesis. Now you have to judge. Do I have to give him a locked knee or the free knee joint? You prescribe locked knee from the muscles of the stump, the length of the stump, and the geographical features where he comes from. Like when he's coming from mountainous areas, you cannot just give a free knee, even if he's young and is vibrant, because the mountains are going to give him problems when walking up and down. So for this, he's used to a free knee because he was using ICRC with a lock, but he was not locking it. So I'm going to give a free knee joint, and he's happy with it. That's what he tells me. Then the second step is to take the measurements. You have to take the measurements of the sound limb and again the stump. First you take the height of the sound limb. There is a bone there known as the ischium tuberosity, on the innominate bone. You measure from there to the ground, 84. Then you take the measurement from the knee joint to the ground. You take the circumference of the calf muscle, 85. Then the length of the foot, 27. You take the measurements of the stump. There is a point here where there is what we call a Scarpa's triangle area here. It is opposite to the other ischium seat. Then you mark it. It is here. Then you take your ruler, 5 centimeters. 5, 10, 15. You make 5 interval, including this. Then after that, this interval, you measure the circumference of these areas. The first one reads 48.5. The second one reads 47. The other one reads 42. The last one reads 33. Then we take the length of the stump. From there, down here, of this hand. It is 23.5. After we had taken these measurements, we are going to take the negative cast from the stump. Then we are taking the negative cast. Take these POP bandages, soak them in water. Now I am taking the negative cast. There is a scalper's triangle here. Behind, there is an institute. Hold it like this. And my friend there is holding on this seat. Because that seat is the place where he's be putting on weight on the prosthesis. So it is a very important area to get it exactly where it is. Otherwise the prosthesis won't function. Then we're waiting for the cast to set. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes. The cast now is set. Just remove it. Like this. Now we have our negative cast. We are taking this negative cast because initially we are using these plastic mods from India, but we found that these models are not proper things to use in making prosthesis because everybody has his own circumference, his own size of the thigh, his whatever. So when we are using this, it could be big or small. So we just decided to leave it. So we are taking the cast instead of using this. We take this positive cast. We modify it as I am doing here. We know we have the lateral, medial, posterior, and the anterior side. Then we have the ischium seat somewhere. We shape it the way we want, like this. So we have the ischium seat. Our scalper's triangle is here, protruding inside. This is the medial part, and this is the lateral part. And after you have this negative cast like this, for me, I just feel it right here as it is. I reduce the pressure point areas, and I know where to add, like the lateral part, the medial part to give the cast abduction, and a bit on the anterior part. Then I make this posterior wall strong, and I try it again on the client. Now I'm going to modify it. Then I make a hole at the distal end of the stump of the cast. Just a hole like this. We are applying the talcum powder here inside so that it doesn't stick to the patient and it becomes soft for him to wear. After we had modified it like this, we try it on the patient to see if it is fitting, because this must fit. We are going to make the positive, the socket out of this shape. So it must fit, or it is not fitting, you modify again. Is it there? Okay. You can even see from here. The stamp is almost there. You can see it is fitting completely here. There is no space. Behind there it is fit on here. You can see. Now we are going to fill this, get the positive, then we continue with the process of making the artificial limb. Now I am going to fill this negative cast with POP powder mixed with water, to get the positive cast, of which I will work on it to make the plastic socket. So I'll just smear it with grease so that it doesn't stick on the POP powder I'm going to pour in. Now the POP is mixed in water, then it is poured into the cast. When it starts to set, put in the mandrel. The other most important step is when you are working on a prosthesis, you must put your tools which you need to use at the same site, that same type, and you be accurate. Like now I've set this table. These are tools I am using to make this prosthesis. Now it has set. I strip off the other negative cast and I leave with the positive cast. So I fix it in here. I strip off the negative like this. Now there is that POP which I added in the negative when I was modifying it. It must be removed from here so that I remain with the circumference which is needed. That area is removed. You see it? You see how the grease had helped us to separate. After all this is done, this is now the stamp which he has. We had just tried to make the artificial one so that we can work upon it and get the positive. Then after all this is done, I have to extend now this stamp to the level of the knee on the sound limb. Then there is some small calculation here. The whole height of the sound limb was 84 from the ischium tuberosita. Then the height from the knee to the ground, it was 50 centimeters. Then when we deduct 50 from 84, we remain with 34. And at this 34, I will add 5 centimeters just to accommodate the knee, where I can do my technical things on the knee joint. So it is 84 minus 50, I remain with 34 plus 5, it is 39. Now the whole length of this of which I'm going to extend, it must be 39. The question is, if you make it short, the limbs won't match. If you make it longer, it won't work, it won't flex. So, or it will be flexing, but one leg is in front, the other one is behind when he is seated. That's not proper. So, the next step is to extend this one to 39 centimeters. So we make a hole here, we press in a mandrel, a small piece. Now that's where science is. When I put in my mandrel in here, I make sure that it is in the position of flexion, 5 degrees of flexion. I have the cone here. This cone helps me to do the extension. So I fix this cone in like this. Press it like this. Then I mix POP and fill in here to the level of 39 centimeters from the ischium. This is the ischium. Then at that point, at 39, you put a shoe tack here, which protrudes inside there, so that when you are pouring the POP powder, you don't exceed this 39. That's the logic. Just there. Now, after it has set, you strip off this conical. This can be any material. It is not necessarily this. You can use all the X-ray films. You can use anything which can accommodate the wet POP powder to make the cone like this. Now I start to use the Evo sheet. Then you have your extension like this. After that, I just cross the measurements from the ischium seat here down. Even use the specs, we are not sure. It is a bit more. It is 40 instead of 39. That's better because it is much easier to refine and remove than to add. Then I start making the joint. The knee, what? Joint. The knee joint has parts. Behind the leg, there is a place they call popliteal fossa, which allows us to bend like this. And on the sides, I am going to put on joints, metal. Preferably to this patient, I am going to put the metal. That I will have to consider. And then, the knee as a knee, it will have to be bending. So I'm going to shape where the knee is supposed to be bending freely in the prosthesis. So I start filing, clearing everything, and making the joint. I've filed this lateral part. I've made this popliteal fossa. You can see the way it is deepening here. This popliteal fossa is just behind, like this, where the ischium seat is. You can see. I am making it smooth so that these parts, medial and lateral sides, they have to be at least flat for the bars to pass. And I have the knee here. Shape the knee as to appear just like the normal knee when he is flexing the limb. It's supposed to appear just like the normal limb. And if I am satisfied with this, I just clean by using the wire mesh, like this, to make sure that everything is just smooth. I just moisten it like this. So I find that it is smooth now. I apply the talcum powder. This is a normal powder. It helps the thing to become smooth, and it acts as a barrier, so that the heated pipe won't draw water from this cast. When it draws water, it will develop wrinkles, which we don't want. Then the cast is ready for making the socket, wrapping on the pipe. Now, at this point, we could just start making the extension on the lower limb, what we call the shank. But we cannot make it until you get the measurements of this part, so that it will fit in the lower shank. This distal part must fit the proximal part of the shank. So we cannot start dealing with the lower part until I get this size of the knee, after I had pulled the pipe. Now we are preparing the pipe to be put in the organ book, wrapping it over on this cast. So we use cotton stockinets. One is put inside the pipe. This actually is high density polyethylene pipes. Then we put one stockinet inside, so that when it is heated, it tends to collapse. And when it will collapse, it won't, the inside sides won't stick to each other. This inside prevents that. And you make sure there is no wrinkles inside the stockinet. Then you get the other outer part. You fix another piece of stockinet here. so as when it is heated, it doesn't just drop anyhow. It is controlled by this outer stock net. Then after that, you put in a piece of wood and put it in the oven. On the lower shank, we have already made the pattern. The pattern of these plastic shells, we just bind them together like this, we tie them. Now we are putting the pipe. As you can see now, it is heated already. Then now we are making the socket by using the pipe. Now I'll seal this upper part. Because it has wrinkles, I will have to shape it and to grind it off, make it nicely shaped. That's how we make the socket. Socket now is ready. After we had made the socket, we use something which is known as the vernier caliper to check the mediolateral size, like this. This reads 11.3 centimeters, 11.3 mediolateral, and the anterior posterior. This is the anterior posterior. It reads 12.4. 12.4. This is going to guide us when we are making this lower shank, which is going to fit in this part here, so that we don't get the loose fit or some hollow things around there. So you remove it. The socket is finished. Since we had already seen the measurements of the upper part to fit in the knee, now we can put on the pipe of the lower shank while modifying the lower shank positive to meet these measurements we have got. So it is, we are putting in the pipe in the oven of the lower shank. While it is hitting, we are modifying the positive cast of the lower shank to meet these requirements we have just measured by the vernier caliper. And me on this side, I am opening this lower shank part. This we don't have much to file on it because it has just come from the plastic. What we need to know here is the circumference of this distal part of the positive cast must be equal to the circumference of this proximal part of the Jaipur foot, so that when you are hitting and putting it in, it must be fitting by the system what we call interference fitting. If it is a loose fit, it will be playing around here. That's what makes sense in the prosthesis industry. So I've measured this area. It is 20. It is 20 millimeters, 20 centimeters. Then I must modify this area to become 20 centimeters. And now this part here, as I have said, I have to use the vernier caliper and see if this is 11.3. It is not. And if this is 12.4, not. I'll just add here or file off. The second point is the height from here down here where it ends. The patient is 50 from the knee joint to the ground. But this shank is going to end somewhere here at the malleolus. So you take the measurements from the malleolus here. This is 8 millimeters. Then 80 millimeters, you deduct them from 50, you get 42. Then this shank, the height from here down here, it must be 42. But not only 42, because when you are using metal joints, you will have to add 2 centimeters for mechanical knee joint. This is not biological. So I add 2 centimeters for mechanical knee joint. Then I need to have 44 centimeters of the shank height. So I have to make sure from here down to here it's 44. I can add some allowances because of filing and whatnot, like 2 centimeters. It becomes from 46. But at the end of the day, I must be having 44 centimeters from the shank, from the malleolus up to the knee, mechanical knee joint. I am filing it now at the point I wanted it to be, because it is added now. And it is to file. After I had filed, I cross-check my measurements. anterior posterior by using this vernier caliper. It is fine fitting. The mediolateral also, it is already fitting. The circumference of the shank to be 20 centimeters. I have it there. And the height from down there, I wanted 44, now it is 46, including the allowance. To me, that's fine. Now, I smoothen it by using the wire mesh. After smoothing it, I apply talcum powder. Powder. Then it is ready for the pipe to be pulled. It has no problem. Just play with it like this. And that's it. Then after you have made this shank, this lower part we call it a shank, fitted into the foot. Before alignment, you have to check these important points. Is the height equal to what you wanted? In this case, it is 39. Just lie it down here and measure it. The whole thing, including the foot part, we wanted it at 44. This is a bit longer. It is safe because if it is longer, you can reduce from down here. That has no problem. Now you check again. Is your socket fitting in as you expected? You see, it is fitting like this. If the socket is fitting in, just to become happy. If it is not fitting, you have to reduce this part a bit and see if it goes down. But in this case, you see, there is no space here. It is not hollow. Then this socket is fit to be fitting on this side. Then we go for alignment. On the alignment, since we are going to use metal bars, you make sure this part, the lateral side and the medial part, they have the same height from the ground. You use what we call water level, put it on like this, and you make sure the water is in the middle like that. Then you are sure it is balancing. So when we are bending this side of the metal, this part, this is our reference point that they are on the same height. So when the one part of the metal goes, they change, they differ in height. It won't flex, it won't bend. So in this case, you can see the water is leveled, then that's good. Again, you mark your prosthesis, your shank. To house, like now, I'm going to mark. Just find the middle, mediolateral side. In this case it is 12. The 6 is somewhere here. And the anterior posterior side, I mark. In the middle also, somewhere here, by using the vernier caliper. This is the most accurate tool. Before doing anything, I just go to the alignment jig and make the alignment. See if these points are corresponding to what I want. If they are corresponding, I mean this lower shank now is ready to receive the upper socket. So this foot is 27 centimeters, and I divide 27 into 3 equal parts. Then I get 9, 9. Then the first third from posterior is where I put my mark. Somewhere here. In the alignment now, just use this grade alignment jig. That touch is known as the laser liner. It must be somewhere lying flat. If this mark is not corresponding to this, what I want it to be in the middle of the line, then it means this foot has to be externally rotated. Like now, I need to hit here and externally rotate the foot. Otherwise, the patient will be working on internal rotated prosthesis. So the middle of the patella must correspond to the 2, only between the 2 and the first. And on the sides now, this is anterior posterior alignment. The mediolateral alignment, you align you are marked 1/3 from posterior. It must correspond to the middle of the knee. During alignment, you have to have a heel at least 1.5 centimeters down here on the heel. Then if you get this is just behind the mark you have made here. So it means this make of yours, it is in hyperflexion. You will have to extend it a bit. So you hit it from here, you bring it back so that this mark corresponds to this mark. This 1/3 of the mark. That's the best thing with the grade alignment jig. And you don't have to mark this 9. 9 is marked on the ruler here. So you can just put the line, this line comes from 9 up to here, then it is done. So I'm going to make some little rectification to hyperextend it, to reduce the height and realign again. If I am satisfied with that, socket is fixed there as usual, and you mark there in the mid and anterior posteriorly, or mark at the ischium tuberosa. In case of the long stump, when you fix it here, these lines from here to this one must match, and from behind here it is The line from the mid heel here must pass through here and to the ischium seat. If we achieve this, then you have aligned your prosthesis properly. Now, after you had aligned your two parts, now you are sure that the socket and the lower part of the foot can be joined together to make the prosthesis. We have two types of joints. The first type is the metal joint. This one, there are two, as you see them here. They have the lock to lock it from unwanted deflection. Why do we lock this? It depends on the geographical areas where the client is coming from. One geographical area, the second is age. An old lady or old man, to give him a free knee joint, it is creating other problems. And somebody who is coming from mountainous areas like Ruwenzori there, in Kasese, to give him a free knee joint, it will be creating more problems. So these locked knee joints, they are meant to people with their age and their areas where they are coming from. We have a free knee joint also, but also this one can be free. And as long as you don't put a lock. If you don't put a lock like this, it becomes a free knee joint. You can just walk without having the lock. This is both a locked joint and a free knee. We have another joint, which is a plastic one. This joint is totally free. Now we give this joint to people who are young and vibrant. Their muscle power is good. They are living to maybe metropolitan life, like in Kampala. There is no potholes. You just give him a free knee joint. Where can he moves close to ordinary limb. And if he is very much used to it, you can never give him a locked knee joint. He won't accept it. So this is a plastic joint. So this is all about the free knee joint. Puts in like this, you make it like this. It is free when you are moving, but it's supported by this elastic band here. When you do this, the elastic band brings it back. When you move, the elastic band brings it back. If this is worn out, you come and repair. So this is a free knee joint out of plastic, and this is a free knee joint out of metal, and as long as you don't put the lock. So in my case, I am going to give him a free knee joint out of metal because first of all, he used it free knee joint, ICRC type. Secondly, he's coming from Rukwinjiri. What is the geography of there? Is mountain, up and downs and whatnot. So to give him this, it won't be wise. So I am going to give him a free knee metal joint so that it becomes durable and secure to him. So we are starting bending. These are bending irons. Chrome vanadium, steel. We start with this lower part and bend this metal like this and this. I prefer starting with the medial part, medial side. I use this mandrel to make sure that it is sitting on this side. If it sits here and there, and since this part was parallel on water level, then I am on the same side. The second point is here at this mark is where the weight line has passed during alignment. So this hole must be 1.5 millimeters posterior behind this hole on the posterior side, because when the client puts on weight on the prosthesis, definitely the weight comes to the joints. And if the weight line falls behind the joint will flex automatically. It will buckle like this. And if the weight line is passing in front of the joint, it locks the joint. So that's why I mark here and put this rod so that this weight line is passing from up. When I say weight line, it means gravitational force. Passes in front of the joint so that it locks the joint, so that the patient cannot just fall without her knowledge or his knowledge. So after I have made this, then I just mark and drill. This won't pass. This ends here, and here, and here. The same happens here. Then you go at the drilling machine. Now we put our mandrel there. These two bars have to be parallel, so that when this comes to fit here and there on the other side, there won't be any parallax. So by checking parallelism of these bars, we use the vernier caliper. These small teeth, they use to check if the things are parallel or not. At this ends here. And when we are satisfied they are parallel, just drill the holes. Then you check again by using the vernier caliper. If they are parallel, up and down. They are parallel like this, you thank God. After you have bent the lower part, the upper part is no problems. You just fix it. Start with the medial side. You bend to fit in here. And the lateral side, you bend to fit in here. Then after you are satisfied, you rivet, then you fix the prosthesis. It must be fitting without any hindrance from any part. And after you fixed, just squeeze in your nuts. Now we can say our limb is ready to go and try on the patient. We have already fixed this belt here to support the prosthesis on. This is a Salesian belt. This is a free knee joint. I didn't put the locks here because it was used to free knee. So after you had fixed it like this, you just tighten it here on the foot part. Then you make sure that if you flex it like this, you don't leave any gap here at the joint. So this knee joint looks like almost a normal joint. As you can see, it is flashing. Even from behind, you don't leave any gap there for the clothes to be entering there where he's standing. So it looks like it from behind on the popliteal fossa, and it is flush in front. So you can say that I had made a perfect limb. And after you had made and riveted your final product, when you put it down on the floor like this, it must have what we call equilibrant forces. It must be in equilibrium. Even if you tap it like that, it won't fall down. This thing is in equilibrium. So when you take it to the client to put it on, you are sure that I have made a proper limb which is equilibrium. The knee joint is perfect, it is flexing. Then the next step from here, I have already riveted. It is ready to be used by the client. It is to go and fit the patient. To try to see if he is going to walk with it. Then the work will be finished. If it becomes difficult for him to walk, you just start afresh. You see where the problem is, you rectify it.